Hello there, everyone. Brock Beard here from lastcar.info. Just tuning in here at the end of the Martinsville race here tonight. I know it's a Wednesday, so some of you guys got school or work and everything, so I'm not going to make this too long of a show tonight. But great win for Martin Truex Jr. Really cool to see what Martinsville was able to put on there under the lights and everything that was going on there in the race. Certainly some great runs by a number of underdog drivers here along the way. Matt DiBenedetto is one that immediately comes to mind there when he was in and out of the top 10 a lot. Seemed like he was really benefiting from Penske in general, having just a great showing during much of this race. Can't forget Bubba Wallace with his great run. Looked like, I mean, he had the lead there on a two-tire stop at one point. And then charging through the end of the field, I got to say, I mean, that really brings back memories of John Andretti in 1999 and how he had to charge back through the field there and knocking on the door of Jimmy Johnson there at the very end. Great run for him to round things out on that. I'm just getting the unofficial results pulled up here in the meantime. Yeah, Matt DiBenedetto with a great run. Bubba Wallace, of course, too. Ryan Newman running the paint scheme from the Daytona 500. I was surprised that, like I said during the on Twitter, was surprised he had anything left of the left rear. It seemed like especially William Byron was being so aggressive there, knocking into him, but having a good finish there. Unfortunate for Aric Almirola, tumbling out of the top 12 in points. Was in the lucky dog for a lot of that race and ended up getting tumbled back in the lineup there. And had another unscheduled stop there towards the end. Eric Jones stoved in the nose of his car at one point. May not have been the most competitive race up front, but a pretty competitive deal for most of the field there. I think there was still a lot of bumping and banging. I think Fox is doing a somewhat decent job of showing people like Austin Dillon and Ty Dillon banging doors at one point and other people working through the field. But, yeah, Truex just ended up covering the field there at that point. And in a very similar sense, Timmy Hill, unfortunate deal there, being your last place finisher unofficially pending the results of technical inspection. Hill was the last place finisher, at least in the unofficial results, taking the spot from Garrett Smithley, who lost several laps in the early stages with brake issues. Hill was behind the wall with a fuel pump issue. They were checking to see if they had any fuel pressure. Apparently the team could not find another fuel pump. And the team mourned their run because apparently they were having a good run up until that point. Very similar, and that's not a big boast for that team because, of course, Hill had a great run at Bristol just a couple weeks ago. I don't know if it was the same car that they ran that day. It likely was. But unfortunately, the car stopped on pit road. They lost all those laps, couldn't come back out there, and they're unofficially your last place finisher there. And also one of the very few cautions that we actually had in the race. Being for the issue that Hill had on pit road. So, yeah, and Austin Dillon, of course, 2 weeks in a row seeing heat exhaustion be a major factor in the race. A big thanks to Brad Perez for responding to my tweets there, clarifying on the issues with the crush panels. We hear about this a lot with the crush panels popping out of the cars and see a lot of cases where the drivers do end up needing relief drivers or just parking the cars at the end of the day. It comes up especially at these short tracks. Because, of course, you know, you're crushing the fenders in, those panels pop out, fumes get in the car, and then you have a very serious issue there. A serious issue on top of what we saw with Bubba Wallace last week with the heat. Certainly the carbon monoxide poisoning is a very serious issue with that as well. Certainly hoping that Dillon's doing okay. The results showing here that he was completing 399 laps, did not have the relief driver available. Apparently, A.J. Allmendinger reports were indicating that he was called off. So that he did not have to be on baby duty for Austin Dillon, but apparently he's going to reprise that role this weekend in the Cup Series race at Homestead, and we'll see how things shake out on that. But unofficially, Austin Dillon shown back in the 37th position. The results show it as being out by accident, but I mean, I don't know if that's going to be updated to show a fatigue since it was very similar to a situation that Cody Ware had at Sonoma last year, but unofficially shown in the 37th spot. Garrett Smithley and Joey Gase running out the bottom five. And again, clarification on that one quote that the team was saying there. They were decrying the fact that they were having a great run in the race and then ended up having the fuel pump issue. I thought it was Joey Gase's at first because 51 was behind the wall, but it actually switched channels at that point. So that was Timmy Hill's team that was saying that they were really upset because they were having a good run going. Carl Long was excited, and then unfortunately they end up at the back of the field. But again, this is what is, it's an unfortunate part of the last place battles, and it's something we talk about. Somebody that finishes last isn't necessarily somebody that was going to, run last the entire race, or it doesn't mean that they're a bad driver or a bad team. They had a good run going, and that's certainly going to be reflected in the article, whether he's the last place finisher or not. If it gets changed by disqualification to somebody else, we're going to leave that in there. And that article will be up later tonight. Reed Sorensen out of the race with electrical issues and being in the 38th spot. That pretty much closed up that. Shows Almirola actually out of the race with the battery issue there that he had. Still trying to wonder what the issue was with the 51 car in during the opening laps there. They were very excited that caution for Dillon came out at the beginning because they are actually able to get a lap back. And it was mentioned on the Twitter account. It was like, oh my goodness, like something finally worked out for us. And we're very happy about that. So they were able to get back into the show there. And but I don't know what that was dropped on there. If that was, it looked like, I was inclined to believe what Mike Joy was saying, that maybe it was something that was hooked into the car on pit road and they forgot to unhook or something, because it wasn't the transponder, because they never lost touch with the timing and scoring. I think Chris Buescher had that a couple weeks ago, lost a transponder or something wasn't working. So it wasn't that. And it looked too small to be the battery. But I don't know what it was. And the team didn't really seem to clarify. The team seemed confused about it. And they were saying that it sounded like it was like a spring rubber. But clearly when you watch on the broadcast, that was no spring rubber. It's got cords sticking out of it and everything. And at one point, the spotter was actually being told to look at the TV screen to try to figure it out too. Didn't hear any clarification on that. But hopefully we'll get some more information on that the days coming up here. But yeah, Timmy Hill being your last place finisher, that's going to be our article on there. And a difficult situation. But yeah, and it's unfortunate. This is the weekend. I've seen your comment there, Kyle. Yeah, this was going to be the weekend for Sonoma. Unfortunately, it's going to be Homestead this weekend. It's going to be cool that we have 4 races, though. We got 2 coming up on Saturday and 2 on Sunday. The entry list storylines article for that is going to be posted this Friday, so you'll have the storylines on all of that. We're waiting for the Cup Series entry list to get posted, so we'll have those updates in there and go from there. Seeing your comment there, Benny Parsons. Who's your favorite driver? I can't have a favorite driver really. In the media thing, I try not to play favorites on that. I know I wear my Rookie Rudd shirt, so and all that. And you see me wear William Byron shirts. There's a lot of kids, a lot of teams out there that I think are really doing good. I think Bubba Wallace is one that's been fun to watch. Really excited about his win in the Winston Open, I guess that shows how old I am. The Open race last year. Then the great runs he had at Daytona. He seems like a really good kid. Ryan Blaney, same thing. The 2 of them in Victory Lane at Pocono, I thought was really cool. Eric Jones, I think, is a kid that doesn't get enough appreciation for what he does out there. So he's fun to watch. Unfortunately, didn't have a great evening out there. Timmy Hill, certainly. People I just talk to on frequently. People like Timmy Hill, J.J. Yaley. Drivers like that have never turned down interviews that I've spoken to him. Joe Nemechek, another one. We didn't see him in this race, and unfortunately, it looks like Nemco's not going to run the truck race at Homestead this weekend. A lot of guys like that. So who my favorite driver is. You certainly see my Jerry Nadeau video on that. But there's a lot of guys that certainly I'd be more excited than others to see win. But in terms of a favorite driver, don't really have one anymore. But you got all that. Yeah, no Nemco this weekend. At least on the preliminary list showed that the deal there. But that's kind of that. Unfortunate, yeah, Jimmy Johnson. I'm seeing your comment there, Mask Official. Yeah, it's too bad we couldn't see Jimmy Johnson get up there. It was really exciting to see him do as well as he did. It kind of reminded me of the great run he had at Fontana earlier this year. Looked like he had a great car for the long run. It's surprising to see him kind of drop off in the 3rd stage. I don't know if they just needed more time for adjustments or what. But still, there's a lot that they can leave with their head high on, much like the Darlington run where they were coming up there like gangbusters and taking the lead. I think that was fantastic for them. We'll see what they can do at Homestead coming up. I guess the only time Johnson won Homestead was when he won his 7th championship. So we'll see what they can do there. But it seems like they're knocking on the door, and I think they're getting something going. So we'll see what they can do. I mean, it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was the most exciting race, really in this sense. I wouldn't say it's the worst one either. I mean, I was thinking a lot of 2012 where you had long green flag runs, extremely low attrition, and very much like that. And I've certainly seen more boring races than this, especially even at Martinsville. Didn't have a crazy finish, and I'm sure that in the promotions. By the way, again, Fox, great job with their promotion they did. I'm hoping it's on YouTube by now. If not, they played. I don't know. Did they play at the beginning of the broadcast? That one that I don't know who did the voiceover in it, but they did a great job. That would be fun to see for sure. But it's an unusual race where you don't have a lot of crashes or anything. But I mean, there was a lot of fender banging. I mean, you look at a lot of these cars out there at the finish, and again, I think they're doing a decent job of showing it. They were really thrashed. I mean, I think we're so used to seeing that during the day, and the way the sun glints off the cars kind of shows it one way. Maybe it looks a little different at night, but a very physical race out there. And I think that it wasn't easy for anybody. So that made it interesting. But I mean, didn't get many cautions. I mean, we're looking at it positively. If you're going to have this race in the middle of the week, people got to go to work or they got to go to school or whatever under the circumstances of this pandemic, of course, that we're all still dealing with. But just if nothing else, whatever you have to do on a typical Thursday, I guess it's good that the race wrapped up as soon as it could under the circumstances. But we're all going to get plenty of races coming up on Saturday and Sunday. So I enjoyed covering that there. And I was really enthused by a lot of people, coming in there and wanting to, enjoy the races and everything. I think, especially since the series has come back in Darlington, I think I'm really pleased to see a lot of people that are interested and eager to learn more about the sport. And I think the broadcast has done a good job of adjusting their approach a bit to kind of spell things out. I know it's tedious for some of us who are longtime fans that know a lot about this and know what the curbs are and what crush panels are and what things are, but it's helpful. I think it's helpful. It brings people into it, and we're still in that phase, and we're going to start having fans get back in the stands, military members this weekend at Homestead, the 5,000 fans, the people in the mobile homes at Talladega, and hopefully things continue to loosen up from there so that maybe by the end of the summer, hopefully sooner, we start getting photographers back at the track so they can start making their livelihood again, media members, and of course the fans. It's great that people have been coming together under these circumstances here, but I'm chomping at the bit to get back into racing. It's going to feel so weird to see this weekend come and go and not have Sears Point. And I know so many other people are feeling that from other races that they go to and haven't been able to go to or haven't been able to cover. Hopefully we're getting to that soon. So I certainly hope that you guys are all hanging in there and everything like that. With all the races kind of going that way. I mean, again, I do think that heat is going to be an issue coming up here, especially at Homestead this weekend, and everything else that was happening that was happening with that. Again, it's gonna be interesting to see, and I think it's gonna be really difficult for. Well, I was about to say some drivers attempting more than one race. I guess Jesse Little's doing both the Xfinity races, but he's not doing the truck race. I saw the 97 wasn't entered. That'll be one thing we'll cover in the Friday article. I'm not sure what the deal is there. I mean, it wasn't the most competitive race out there. I know there's going to be split hairs on that, but again, I think it's almost been like having dessert every meal of the day. We're having so much racing now that if you don't like a race, heck, there's going to be another 4 in just a couple of days, and we'll be doing the last place coverage on all that and the articles and cranking them out. I hope you guys are enjoying the articles and the videos and everything like that. We're trying to keep pace with this. I'll admit it's been a challenge, but I've enjoyed bringing it to you guys and trying to. I actually was running some errands this afternoon, and I had to sprint in here and hook all this up and get it going. And I'm glad I was able to catch it at the start because the last place battle at the beginning was interesting there. I'm going to be very interested to see what happens at Homestead and everything else coming up here. And I mean, I guess I don't really have too much more to add on that. I wanted to do trivia in here tonight. I know it's already kind of late though, so I don't want to keep it going. I was also going to get something to eat because I'm getting kind of hungry here. But I wanted to kind of jump in here to at least give you guys a message here and again touch base with you guys on there. And yeah, so I'm just going to leave it here. Leave it here for right now. Your winner again, Martin Truex Jr., your last place finisher, Timmy Hill. The article is going to be coming up later tonight. What we'll probably do is we'll do a standalone trivia night sometime between now and Sunday. What I'll probably do is I'll probably do one like that. I'm still kind of figuring that out. We'll figure something out so you don't have to wait until like late at night. We'll do some more updates on that. And then worst case scenario, if that gets pushed back, we'll certainly do something after Sunday's Homestead race. So we'll do something like that. But again, thank you so much for your support of my videos. Thank you for following me on Twitter at LastCarOnBrock, patreon.com/LastCarOnBrock. So stay tuned later tonight for the article. Entry list storylines on Friday. We'll try to squeeze in a trivia night this week if we can. So get those buzzers ready. We're still going to do it. Worst case scenario, that's going to be Sunday after the Homestead race, and we'll do it then. So I apologize. It's a bit of a shorter show tonight. Well, it's only like 20 minutes into it here. But I know it's late tonight, so I'm not going to make you guys pull the night shift here with me. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the races tonight, and we'll catch up next time. All right. Thanks very much, everyone.